Welcome to the Annual Goals Guidance page. Please visit the CA Help website under Professional Development for more in-depth training in goal writing titled Present Levels of Performance, PLOPs, Goals, and Educational Benefit. Let's get started. As a reminder, we are working on the future IEP form for the selected student. Select the pencil icon for the Goals form. The title of this page is Goals Summary Page. Annual goals are statements in an IEP that describes what a student with a disability can reasonably be expected to accomplish within a 12-month period. Annual goals can be standards-based academic goals or non-academic, functional skills and/or knowledge that are expected to be mastered. How do we know what to write a goal on? Let's review. So far, we reviewed assessment and evaluation results, established eligibility, and appraised various data sources to inform the student's present levels of academic achievement and functional performance. Our next task asked us to determine which of those broad areas of the child's academic, social, health, emotional, communicative, physical, and vocational needs had concerns. If the IEP team expressed a concern in one of those areas, it does not necessarily mean a goal is written for that area. The IEP team is going to determine if the concern is such a weakness that it rises to a level of educational impact. These areas of concern will determine educational need, and in turn, you will write a goal for each corresponding need. Look at the example. The area of need that is targeted is reading, and the skill I need to write a goal for is comprehension. So let's get back to our goals summary page. Select the green Add button to the right of the screen to add a goal. For this purpose, let's look at the sample. For the box titled Goal Description, you will indicate the specific skill or specific expectation that the goal will address. Some examples include comprehension, fluency, vocabulary, phonemic awareness, a domain in mathematics, initiating conversation, taking turns, throwing a ball, cutting shapes with scissors, etc. Notice that these are skills that can be observable and measurable. The next box over is where you will input the broader area of educational need that the IEP team identified from the present levels. Some examples of the broader areas of need include reading, ELA, math, communication, social, emotional, or behavior, vocational, fine or gross motor, or adaptive and independent living. For the box Measurable Annual Goal Number, enter the number of the annual goal. This allows for easier tracking of the goals, especially when you notate progress on goals and if you link a transition goal to an annual goal. For the next section, titled Baseline, you will input specific baselines that directly correspond to the goal. The baseline refers to the starting point of a student's current level of performance in a particular skill or area of need. It serves as a standard against which to measure performance or progress. This is very important because we cannot evaluate progress on a goal if we do not know where the student began. Once the IEP team determines the target skill, behavior, or expectation, whether it be academic or a functional skill, the next step is to identify a measure, a single skill measure, or a general outcome measure. Teachers can use a variety or evaluations to gather data such as standardized tests, curriculum-based assessments, informal observations, developmental checklists and rating scales, work samples, Common Core curriculum benchmarks or standards, progress monitoring tools, or other skills assessments. Keep in mind the goal and baseline should be linked and mirror each other. The baseline will indicate what the student is currently able to do. The goal will indicate what the student will be able to do 1 year from today. The next box, titled Goal, is where the measurable annual goal related to the baseline will be input. Remember, there should be at least one goal for every area of need listed on the present levels page. Writing a measurable annual IEP goal involves a systematic process to ensure the goal is specific, achievable, and can be measured to track progress. Look in your Resources tab for a visual support on the 7 components in an IEP goal to guide you through writing a goal. Please note that you don't have to put the steps in this order. More importantly is having all the key components inclusive in the IEP goal. Step 1 is to input the time frame. Record the expected date by which the goal will be mastered. This is 1 year from the IEP date. Step 2 is inserting the student's name. Step 3 is to identify any underlying conditions, supports, or circumstances under which the goal, behavior, or expectation will occur. List the specific support or condition, such as when given a verbal prompt, when participating in a group activity, when presented with sentence frames, etc. You can also indicate the setting or context. For instance, where will the skill be measured? Therapy sessions, classroom, conversational speech, things like that. Step 4 is to identify the specific skill or target behavior and/or expectation the student will master in the expected time frame. Refrain from inputting subjective, vague, or undefined terms such as improve, increase, enhance, and replace it with specific and measurable language. Step 5 should state the evaluation criteria or level of accuracy. How accurate must the student be, particularly percentage, time, duration, rate, or frequency? Step 6 should state the level of mastery. Include the period of time the student must perform the goal. Show trials over a span of time. Step 7 includes a measurement tool. What assessments or instruments will be used to measure the goal? Examples include observations, data collection, student work samples, and things of the sort. If you elect to utilize the goal bank, ensure that you understand how to establish the percentage or accuracy in the given goal. You will have to present the selected goal to the student and obtain their current baseline score and work backwards. The next page on the box is titled Purpose of Goal. Select this box if the student is working on a goal written to California state standards. This is where you will input the state standard related to your goal. Consider the grade level content standards for the grade in which the student is enrolled or would be enrolled based on age. If you select a Common Core ELA or math goal from the goal bank, it will auto-populate the content standard in this area. If the content standard did not auto-populate, you will have to manually input the grade level standard you are addressing. Point your attention to the box titled Addresses Other Educational Needs Resulting from the Disability. If the student requires goals not linked to the Common Core state standards, or if the student has a goal below the academic standard, then you can check this box. A good example is reading foundational skills that only go up to the 6th grade. If you have a middle or high school student that still needs to work on fundamental reading skills and the goal addresses foundational reading, select this box. You will also check this box if the goal you are working on is social skills, self-help, or behavior, since those are not a Common Core state standard goal. Look at the next box titled Linguistically Appropriate Goals. Check the box if the goal written is linguistically appropriate and reflects the student's needs based on assessment information. Linguistically appropriate IEP goals align to the student's current linguistic level in English or assessed level on the LPAC. All students who are English learners and not redesignated as English proficient should have this box selected. For the next box, Transition Goal, if this particular goal is related to secondary transition, check the box and then check the appropriate area below that is linked to, under transition, education training, employment, or independent living. In the following section, it asks you to indicate the person or persons responsible. You will input who will implement, track, monitor, and report on this goal. The education specialist or case manager might be responsible for a reading goal, but a speech pathologist or related service provider would be responsible for the goal if it corresponds to their service. Never put parent or guardian as a responsible party. Notice the green button labeled Hide Objectives. Students with significant cognitive disabilities who participate in a modified curriculum leading to a certificate of completion and/or has been recommended to take an alternative assessment must have objectives that detail smaller incremental steps to support the achievement of the IEP goal. For example, if the goal attainment is to reach 80%, the first short-term objective might be one verbal prompt at 50%, one gestural prompt at 60%, and then independently at 70%. Notice the prompts faded. If the student is not taking an alternative assessment, you can hide objectives. Otherwise, you must complete the objectives. Towards the bottom of the page, you will see the section titled Progress Reports. You will document the date and summary of the progress. You will not complete this at the time you recreate the annual goal. You will fill this out at each reporting period to account progress on the goal. This typically occurs when general education students receive report cards. It is best to re-administer the goal to the student and then reiterate the goal in the summary and input the current score so you can identify whether progress has been achieved. If no progress has been made, determine if the IEP team needs to meet and modify the student's IEP to add accommodations, support, or to edit the goal in order for the student to make progress and be successful. Draw your attention to the green button titled Add Progress Report. Use this section for when a parent does not consent to the IEP and you need to report progress on the last consented to IEP. If you select the button, a new progress report 4 will appear. You can add the details of why there is a progress report 4 in the comments section. The final section of this page is to be utilized at the annual review. You will either come back to this section when you are preparing for the annual IEP, or you can complete this section in the Goal Progress Reporting section of SACE. You will review the student's overall progress and determine if the goal has been met over the course of the past year. Select yes or no. Record the current level of progress in the comment section by including the final accuracy and measurement of the goal. Feel free to include any other comments related to how well the student did or describe barriers the student encountered. And lastly, don't forget to save.